not gonna lie, I'm scared even holding this guitar. So this is a 1968 reissue with ultra light aging courtesy of the Murphy Lab, and usually I buy the trashed guitars no one else wants on eBay, but this is my first new Gibson custom shop instrument, and it is by far the most expensive guitar I've ever had on the channel. Since they launched, I've been dying to know if the Murphy Lab hype is justified, and I've been getting a lot of questions about how these compare to real vintage Les Pauls from around the same time period. And today, we're gonna find out. So, slap a like on the video if you're going to enjoy it, and let's take a closer look. So, my friends at Sweetwater have provided this Les Paul Custom that looks like a Les Paul Custom, but let me quickly explain about what makes the 68 reissue so special. Now, 1968 is a particularly sought after year for Les Paul Customs because it was the year that the Custom was reintroduced as pretty much the model that we know it as today. Just a year later, Norlin bought the company and started doing all the Norlin-y things like three-piece maple necks, or the pancake bodies, or the wildly inconsistent build quality. So 68 is considered a sweet spot where you've got the proper non-weight relieved one-piece mahogany bodies, one-piece mahogany necks, sadly without volutes. The Gibson logo still has a dotted I. What a weird Norlin change that was to remove the dot, and unlike the all mahogany 50s version, it's also got a carved maple cap. Probably one of the most significant changes is that the 50s Les Paul Customs had a 17-degree headstock angle, whereas the one on this is 14 degrees. That shallower angle at the nut, and therefore reduced string tension at the headstock, is better for string longevity and way better for tuning stability. By the way, modern Gibsons have gone back to that 17-degree headstock angle for tradition's sake, I guess. So that makes this 68 reissue one of the very few in the current lineup with that spec. So that's what makes the 1968 Les Paul Custom so special. That's why the reissue is a staple in the lineup. And I love how it's got all these period correct features that make it stand out from the modern Les Paul Custom, like the witch hat control knobs instead of Smeed knobs, the ABR bridge instead of Nashville, Clouson tuners instead of Grover. At least I think they're period correct. Either way, gives it more of an old school vibe. There's even a throwback 6-digit serial number, no Made in USA stamp on the back of the headstock. Now, all that is on every 68 reissue, and this one's gone a step further with the Murphy Lab's ultra light aged treatment. The Murphy Lab has 4 aging levels, and this, as the name suggests, is the lightest one, and it's supposed to mimic the finish of a guitar that spent most of its life as a case queen. So at a distance it might be difficult to tell, but there are signs of aging, like finish checking, all over the guitar, literally all over the front, the back, the neck, the headstock. The hardware has started to dull, and of course, the binding and logo are starting to amber, and it just looks fantastic. The ultra light aging is relatively subtle. There's none of the intense wear you'll find on the heavier aging levels that mimic the finishes of guitars that have like decades of playing time under their belts. Now, I was really curious about this because, well, I love relics guitars. I like how they look, but more importantly, I love the broken in feel when the fingerboard edges are worn down, when the finish on the back of the neck is practically rubbed off. It's a fantastic playing experience if it's done right, because there's a huge difference between relicking and just straight up damaging a guitar. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna get that playing experience that I love at this aging level. Sweetwater's guitar gallery is awesome. It lets you see all the guitars in stock, so if you've got a particular preference for color or figuring or weight, you can literally pick the one that you want Sweetwater to ship to your door. In my case, the 68 reissue was only in stock at this aging level, so I went for the one that looked like it had the most aging. Now it's here, and it looks absolutely stunning. And I found the best way to test a guitar is to write something with it. Really get to understand it by letting it inspire riffs. So, let's plug it in, get some first impressions, and see what this guitar is all about. Alright, so dedicated viewers might remember, when I unboxed this guitar, it had gotten banged up in shipping. There was a dent in one of the frets. And so I've just gotten it back from Sweetwater. They repolished all of the frets. Dude, I would get so many more views if I was like, oh, this $7,000 Les Paul sucks. But, unfortunately for the growth of the channel, it's just a fucking good Les Paul. Damn it, my new guitar is good. Fuck. And it actually chugs really nicely too. Right now, I'm running it through the Mesa Dual Rectifier. And the reason I'm doing that is because part of the reason I was inspired to pick one of these up is I've been chatting a lot with Mark Morton of Lamb of God. Dude is a fellow Les Paul addict and is a terrible influence. He's been playing a lot of customs recently. He's got a real 68. So after talking to him a lot, I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can talk Sweetwater into doing a video of a 68 reissue. So I think in that spirit, let's go for a demo track that's Lamb of God light, especially since basically every other Murphy Lab video is like blues or jazz or classic rock. No one's done like a straight ooga booga chugga chugga video with the Murphy Lab yet. Okay, yeah, a lot of groove, a lot of horizontal movement, that'll work. You know, I am always so surprised how well these super old school pickups work in a chug context. Traditional logic is you need pickups with kick-ass sounding names for metal. Black Winter, Painkillers. But I don't know, man, I tend to find these low output pickups have a ton of character to them. You know, the amp has a lot of room to do its magic when it's not being assaulted with audio signals. It's kind of funny, at this ultra light age level, I don't know how well like the finish checking and the minor amounts of age are gonna show up on the B-roll. It looks like an old guitar with all the amber and everything, but it smells, and honestly it feels like a new guitar, kind of. You know, it's still got most, if not all, of the finish on the back of the neck, and I mean, you could see the guitar is still very shiny. Now I was kind of hoping this would feel more like my 70s Les Paul Customs, where more of the finish is worn off. That's what I like about vintage guitars. That's what I like about well-done relics as well. And there's still a little bit of that. Like, I mean, the fingerboard edges have been rounded more than what you'd find on a new Gibson, but it's not got that super broken in feel yet. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to play the shit out of this thing. Oh no. What I love about Lamb of God riffs is they've got this huge groove, and then at the end of them, they've got a kind of guitar equivalent of a drum fill. Nope. Even better if the fill is almost like Southern rocky. And then they do a lot of not really call and response, but using the dynamic of two guitars to really emphasize certain notes. So I'm just gonna rip off and combine two of my favorite parts from What I've Become and Pathetic. And I've cheated a little bit because I came up with that riff a while ago. I just haven't had a chance to really use it in anything, so we're gonna throw it in there. While one guitar is doing that, the other guitar is doing the, something like that. I can't quite remember whether that was a rhythm, but you get the idea. By the way, I don't know if you can tell, but I've actually been, like, pretty nervous playing this. Like, the price tag on these is just ridiculous. It's like, it's intimidating, to be honest. It almost feels like I shouldn't be playing it. I should just be hoarding it in a case forever. But oh my god, it's such a good, it's so easy to play. And then maybe something that fucks around with chromatic scales. That sounds super fucking evil. And then we need a guitar fill. Yeah, that can work. And tuning stability seems pretty solid so far. So that's a plus. And I wasn't sure how this neck shape was gonna feel compared to like my 72 and my 74. Apparently real 68s are all over the place. You'll find some that are fat as fuck. But this, I mean, it's basically a 60 slim taper. So it's not a big, round, chunky neck, but it's not the ESP thin U necks that you find on the 70s either. Ah, fuck, we forgot a clean section. Well, it is a demo, so I guess we have to do that. So I'm thinking we can actually do like a clean intro. Keep it real simple, and I can do ambient harmony leads over it. Ooh, that can work. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of checking on the back of the neck, so you do feel it when you're playing, but other than that, it feels much closer to a new guitar than I was expecting. Yeah, I mean, dude, listen, I know already there are gonna be people in the comments, they're like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that with this guitar, you should be playing with more soul. That, dude, this guitar is a goddamn riff machine. With that, I think that's enough ideas now. I'm gonna go away, work on this demo track off camera, and I'll meet you back here for my final thoughts. But first, here's how the demo track consisting of the first riffs inspired by this guitar turned out. Alright, so after a few weeks of owning this Murphy Lab reissue, I have kind of weird mixed feelings about it, and it's a bit difficult to explain, but I'll do my best. First and foremost, this is a fantastic guitar. It really just is. I love Les Pauls, and the Murphy Lab is the pinnacle of what the Gibson Custom Shop can currently do. There are other brands that arguably make a better Les Paul custom for the money, and that's a whole other debate we've covered extensively on this channel. But what the Murphy Lab does with replicating the mojo of a real vintage instrument, it's awesome. But there was always this nagging feeling in the back of my mind that this wildly pricey tier of Gibson is just as much a collectible as it is an instrument. And so every time I went to pick it up, the value goes down by like $100. And then I realized the fact I've got a certificate of authenticity proving this guitar was intentionally damaged out of the factory means the resale value isn't affected by the ding I have accidentally already put in the headstock. I mean, what? That was already there. That being said, I'm definitely putting strap locks on this thing ASAP, keeping it stock be damned. Filming the demo track without strap locks was a stupid thing to do. But then, so Murphy Lab, worth the hype then, right? Mostly. Quality of the instrument is definitely here, but I think in hindsight, I should have gone for a heavier aging level to get that wonderful played-in feel. Glenn Fricker is 100% gonna call me a poser when I see him next, because the broken-in feel is always what I say that I love about aged guitars, and this doesn't really have that. He's such a hater, but When it comes down to it, this is a throwback love letter to the golden era of Gibson guitars. Is it worth the price tag? I mean, in terms of a nice piece of wood with strings on it for making music, law of diminishing returns is definitely a thing. Best bang for buck, quote-unquote, golden era inspired single cut, grab an Epiphone 59 standard or a PRS McCarty 594 SE in your set. Realistically as well, they're super premium guitars you can get for about half of this new. However, nothing holds its value like a Gibson though. Even the trashed, unplayable husks I usually buy are starting to command four-figure price tags. It's wildly stupid. So all I can really say is that if you appreciate nice guitars and you're fortunate enough to get an opportunity to play a Murphy Lab aged Les Paul, let me tell you, you're gonna have a damn good time. That's about it for me. Here's where I'll throw it to you. Gibson Murphy Lab. What are your thoughts? Have you played one? What did you think? Worth the price tag? And massive thanks to my amazing patrons who make each and every video possible. Their names are up on the screen right now. Consider joining them for bonus extras like demo track tabs, or if you just want to support what I do. Really comfy merch is also available, and yeah, just thank you for watching and giving me the opportunity to make content on guitars. I have absolutely no business going anywhere near. Just insane. This is a thing that we get to check out together, so thank you. Social media, merch, and Discord server links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I will see you for the next video.